7.5%. That is the return I would expect from investing in Microsoft at the end of 2023. Despite the high share price, you can still expect around 7.5% return on equity for every dollar invested in Microsoft. Probably best known for its operating system, the company is a powerhouse with incredible barriers to entry. I don't believe that you can replicate this business. The network effects are extreme. Microsoft's position in the market is protected by the fact that there are massive advantages for users, as everyone is using it. They make it simple to share data in the same format like Word, Excel, PowerPoint and such like. And that is just Microsoft Office tools. It would take enormous disruption in the market to displace it. Therefore, when the price drops, for me, it's always one to pick up. Today, I will value Microsoft looking at the potential growth and our expected returns for every dollar we invest in the business. This will consist of 3 parts. Firstly, we look at the distribution yield percentage. What percentage of the enterprise value is being distributed to the stakeholders of the business? The stakeholders are the owners, the banks and such like. Secondly, we look at the expected returns linked to growing the business next year and beyond. Thirdly, the final component is the organic growth that the company will get just based on the growing economy. So let's start with the first component. Microsoft is one of the highest value companies in the world. The market cap at the end of 2023 was sitting at $2.53 trillion. If I allow for the reported debt and cash at the end of the year, this leaves us with an enterprise value of $2.47 trillion. Next, we work out what percentage of this enterprise value is being distributed to stakeholders. Firstly, they issued a dividend of $19.8 billion to shareholders in 2023. Then there were interest expenses of $1.968 billion that needed to be paid to the bank for existing debt. And then a net issuance of new debt of $7 billion from financial institutions. Microsoft also repurchased some stock from shareholders in the region of $22.245 billion. And finally, there was some other financing in the region of $1 billion. This represents a total distribution to stakeholders of $4.7 billion, or 1.93% of the enterprise value. The second part of our expected returns comes from the potential growth of Microsoft. So first, we look at the historical returns on the invested capital. The total assets for Microsoft have grown to $411 billion in 2023. However, some of these assets have been purchased not as a result of the owner's equity and loans, but that of spontaneous liabilities. This is not invested capital, so we remove it. Spontaneous liabilities include payables owed to suppliers and accrued expenses. We take these off the asset value to find the net assets of the business. For 2023, Microsoft has $389.7 billion of net assets. Next, we'll look the returns on that invested capital. This is in the form of the net operating profit for the year. For 2023, there was an impressive $71.7 billion of net operating profit. You can see the growth here has been astronomical over the last 10 years. If we divide that net operating profit by the net assets, we find our return on invested capital, 18.4% for 2023. Next, we need to judge how much investment into assets is going towards growing the business and how much is going to maintain the current productive capacity of Microsoft to sustain the assets they already have. The capital expenditure for 2023 was $28.1 billion. I've worked out that approx. $13.8 billion will be used to maintain the current productive capacity of the business, and $14.2 billion will be used to grow the business. This capital expenditure is 19.86% of the net operating profit for 2023. You can see over time that the percent of net operating profit after tax spent on growth is rising rapidly in Microsoft, which is a great sign for the future. If I multiply our percentage of net operating profit being spent on growth by the return on invested capital demonstrated previously, we arrive at expected growth of 3.66%. If we add our distribution yield to stakeholders of 1.93%, to the expected growth of 3.66%, to the organic growth estimated to be 1%, we can expect total expected returns of 6.59% for every dollar invested into Microsoft. If I adjust for leverage, this increases to 7.72% for every dollar invested in Microsoft equity. If you couple the fact that Microsoft have incredible barriers to entry and competitive advantage, if it keeps investing in its future the way it is presently, and the returns on invested capital repeat the historical values, it is always something I pick up when there is multiple compression. Follow the old contrarian if you want to learn how to value a business.